Brenda Smith. I'm the education coordinator for this year, and I am honored to have the opportunity to present to us Michael David. He is our public relations manager this year. May I present Michael David?
Thank you very much, Brenda, for the generous introduction. So today we will be talking about strategic PR planning. I will start by saying that Toastmasters is like a business. It is a business, except you don't profit from it. It's a non-profit organization. As members, most of you here in this district meeting and educational session, if not all, are officers. Think of yourself as a business person, a business executive, selling Toastmasters, your business, as your product. Just like McDonald's or any other organization, Toastmasters structurally is similar to these organizations. There's international headquarters, there's a regional or a provincial or a national headquarters, similar to the district. And then there's also those specific branches similar to the clubs that we have in Toastmasters. Toastmasters is like a franchise. You will see that in Toastmasters International, we have those instruction manuals that they give to those franchise businesses that they give to the franchisees. We have the SOPs, the manuals, the district leadership handbook that we can follow. They're all written procedures that we follow. So we can see that structurally and with these Toastmasters is like a franchise. And as a business person, and especially as an executive of your club, you need to work on the following to reach your goals. You need to work on improving your product. You have to work on marketing your product, selling, and organizing your business. In improving your product, we have your VPEs and our program quality directors working on that to provide as much benefit to our prospective members as much as possible, so that if we have a better product, it will be easier to sell. Marketing your product, no matter how good your product is, if you don't market it properly, no one will know it. There's a saying that marketing is like, winking at a girl in the dark. You wouldn't be able to, like if, you know what you're doing, but it won't get you anywhere. It's like opening a business without telling everyone. And how successful will that business be if you don't market your product? And of course, there's selling your product, which is our main goal here in Toastmasters. We have to sell those memberships. We have to build and grow our membership. Bonnie gave us an excellent presentation the last time in our previous TLI about how to close, and that's a very important thing that we have to be doing. Even if you're great at marketing and everybody knows about Toastmasters, if you don't know how to close, even if we tell this member 8 times, join Toastmasters, if we don't have the skills, we wouldn't be able to get them as members. And of course, we have to organize our business, and that's where our district director, our presidents, our secretaries, treasurers, and finance managers come in, so that we can organize our business, so that we can be a well-oiled machine, running very smoothly and functioning very properly, so that we can run our business successfully. These are all interrelated, and as I mentioned, no matter how good your product is, without marketing, no one will know about it. No matter how good your marketing is, without closing, no one will join your organization. And then if you don't have proper financing, if you don't have a proper organization, your business is just doomed to extinction. How many of you have thought of joining Toastmasters with this in mind, like having business skills instead of just public speaking? Not a lot. So perhaps that's that might be something that we're not marketing enough for people, and perhaps if we highlight that thing to people, perhaps there's going to be that certain segment of the market who are into business who will actually be motivated to join us. Just like a business, Toastmasters gave us a tool on how to plan. Like if you're going to run a successful business, you need successful business planning. And Toastmasters gave us a tool called the Club Success Plan, or the Distinguished District Success Plan, for us to be working on. How many of you in your clubs actually did work on your success plans? And actually David did have a contest just a few months ago about this. Not even half the room have actually filled out your business plan. And if you don't have any plans, and if you don't have any goals, where do you think you guys are going to lead up?
Nowhere to fail.
Nowhere.
You plan to fail.
Yeah, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. Thus, in this session, we will be talking about business planning, but more specifically, we are going to be talking about how to plan your marketing strategies using the 5 SMART steps. And with any goal setting, you've always heard about the SMART thing about goal setting. What's S again? Specific, M, measurable, A, attainable, R, realistic, T, time bound. Okay, good. I was just checking if I actually have that right, because some people have those acronyms differently, different from what I know. So, first we set up realistic market research, and then we brainstorm specific strategies, and out of those strategies, we have to prioritize which one we would want to spend our limited volunteer resources on. We have to time bind our strategies so that we don't have to do everything all in 1 month and do nothing on other months or something like that, so that we can spread out evenly our strategies and also make them more relevant to the season, perhaps in the new year, something like that. And also measure and adjust our plan periodically, depending on what changes have come to your clubs. If you had more resources now, perhaps you can do more, or maybe less if you have less resources now. So it's very important for us to always evaluate where we are at and adjust accordingly. And similar to a franchise, Toastmasters have a tool for that, like the moments of truth. And it doesn't only speak about, work on about marketing, it's also for every other things, but marketing is also a part of that. Realistic market research. Here we have to know who, what, when, where, and why. Who are our customers? What do they need, and what can we offer them? Where are our services offered? When can we actually plan our marketing so that we can entice them to join us? And why are they buying from us? And only this year we've seen people doing surveys for the convention, and I thought that was a really, really great idea. Like, we've never done these things before. Perhaps we are so busy thinking about doing things how they did it before, and that's probably why nothing's happening to us, like nothing different is happening to us. And if we want different results, we have to be informed on what we can do, so that we have to realistically see what the market looks like, so that we can, through research, so that we can plan accordingly. When you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. Earlier in this district meeting, we've heard from one of our division directors that UN Masters have limited their membership to only students, faculties, and people in the University of Manitoba. What do you guys think about that?
It's sad.
Is it sad? Or could it be that they're actually tailoring their market so that they can actually focus on that segment, and then they can actually, with that much focus, you can be more effective on that? a golden rule of advertising is that if your ad is general, it is weaker. No matter how many people you're sacrificing quality for quantity. Whereas if you have a specific appeal, it will be stronger, although it will be limited. So perhaps that's an extra push. It's up to you how you would like to strike the balance between quality and quantity. But general, specific, that's just how it's gonna be. Just some technical terms about marketing. Market segment is a group of customers who share similar set of wants. Perhaps there's those the professors, maybe the students, or maybe the employees or the executives. We have to face it that we can't please everyone, and people would want to join in a group that are with those people who are similar to them. Perhaps by age group, like for young professionals, they would want to younger professionals, or maybe like the community organization, community clubs, maybe they want the retirees in that club, so that we can give them better experience. Whereas if we just shotgun at everyone and try to put them all in one group, maybe that's not as effective as we would want it to be. There are certain segmentation strategies that I've just mentioned. It could be like demographics, age, gender. Have you ever thought of having like Good Life Fitness have certain branches that are only for women? I wonder, like, have you ever thought of creating a club for only a Toastmasters club only for women? But then again, what about men? For some reason, there's always
There was Toastmasters before.
is that under Toastmasters?
Yes.
No.
How did it?
And it's not part of Toastmasters.
It's not part of
No.
Toastmasters from what I know. I wonder how it went. Did it went well?
Because
Only ideas. These are only ideas that I'm throwing out. It doesn't have to be done, but I'm encouraging everyone to think outside of the box so that we can have like a better perspective. So, or it doesn't have to be a better perspective. Something different, just so that we can get different results. What can we offer them? And there can be tangible and intangible benefits, and it doesn't matter whether you classify them tangible or intangible, but these are just examples. For example, like a tangible benefit would be a functionality of the iPhone. That's something that you can highlight and if you want to sell iPhones, or maybe time savings or nourishment for booster juice, stuff like that. What I would like to ask you now, what are your what do you think Toastmasters offer in terms of tangible benefits?
Confidence.
Confidence.
Communication and leadership.
What's that?
Communication and leadership.
Communication and leadership, and that's our very general benefit which we have to actually define. Perhaps if you are a club in a university, you would want to think about benefits that are more specific to the needs of your surrounding environment. Perhaps if you're in a university, and I can only think of university for now, but if you're in a university, there's those graduate students who are, or not, it doesn't have to be those graduate students. You can sell better grades as a tangible benefit for them. If you can present better, your grades would be better, something like that. Or perhaps in in a corporation, would you like skills for promotion? Maybe you can sell those ones. And then these are things that if you can see, very specific things that you can't, like promotion, you can't advertise that in a community club, or a retired club, retired people club. So if you can see from there's those specific things that doesn't apply to other things, but they are stronger when you actually apply them in specific environments. So those are things that I can't just give you blanket ideas, but I encourage you to go home in your clubs and brainstorm these ideas with your clubs and make it as specific as possible, as strong as possible, so that you can get those members. When? it is also important for us to know when we will be wanting our strategies to be laid out. So it's very important for us to create a calendar as to when are we going to do this. When are we going to plan a CTV news interview? It will be best to do it in a Toastmasters speak. When are we going to do a speechcraft perhaps? If you're going to be doing a speechcraft, would it be nice to, would it be strong or effective to ask people during the new year to make them resolve that, hey, this is something that you could improve your life. And Tony Robbins did mention that the quality of your communication is the quality of your life. So perhaps that's a quote that you would want to say to the people. And if you want to improve your life this year, hey, join Toastmasters so you can improve the quality of your communication.
About Ogmandino.
What about Ogmandino?
He wrote a book about communication, the best businessman.
Oh, the greatest salesman in the world. That's actually a good book. I encourage everyone to read it. It's it's good for salesmen as well, and perhaps there's nothing about it about marketing, but closing and stuff like that. There's stuff in there. For Christmas, perhaps we can do creative things like I don't know, maybe think about giving gift certificates, stuff like that for a Toastmasters membership. How does that? How will that look like? It doesn't have to be like that, but you guys can think about that with your clubs. Or maybe there's potential change. What's that, Evan?
Not club funds.
Not within your club fund. So, but perhaps why don't we think about it like further? If you can do fundraising and perhaps if you can generate funds out of it. Maybe gift certificates or maybe contests for non-members would work.
Get a sponsor.
Or get a sponsor. Or in a potential change environment or trends. Say, just earlier in this district meeting, we've heard that our district leadership is going to be doing video communication for our contests. Like we're all forced to do videotape our contests. And it's a trend that we're leaning towards to, and perhaps if we can highlight that, and for the virtual Toastmasters Club, those online Toastmasters clubs that we have, maybe this is something that we can highlight. Do you want to, everything is now online, do you want to learn and practice your video communication skills? That's something that we can actually make them, we can highlight and make people who are into it aware, so that they can join those certain specific special clubs. Or maybe a potential change like graduation and stuff like that. Maybe you can market, even if you're not into a university club, maybe you can put your advertisements there, put them in during graduation time so that we can make them aware that will you be ready to this next phase of your life, you will need leadership skills, you will need communication skills. And where you have to be aware of where you are at. Like you can be at a hospital, you can be in a university. If you're in a hospital, you can tailor your message such that whichever is most important for those people in the hospital. Are you communicating with your patients well? Or depending on which one is your target market? Are you targeting doctors? Are you targeting employers? Are you targeting nurses or whoever? And then again, perhaps in a corporation. So that's why it's very important for us to actually limit ourselves, and we don't have to be so general. Because let's face it, would employers, like the executives, want to be in the same club as their employees? It's not that we're closing the gap. It's not that we're trying to segregate them from each other, but it's just something that people will probably not be comfortable doing. Like if you're a new employee in a certain corporation, would you want to be in a club where you're just friends with your highest boss or something like that? So we just have to be very mindful of those things. And where it can also be online. So if you're on an online Toastmasters club, perhaps you can tailor your message to more towards online stuff. Of course, you wouldn't want posters for online Toastmaster clubs. why it's very important for us to know, so that we would know what the needs of our customers are, whether it be real or perceived. That's why it's very important for us to survey those people, or perhaps our current members, or maybe the new members, on why did they join Toastmasters in the first place, and perhaps we can highlight that. And why are they staying in Toastmasters? We can also highlight that. Perhaps, okay, we've learned public speaking, but I'm still staying in Toastmasters because there's so much more things that I've learned that I didn't originally intend to learn in Toastmasters. That's why I'm still staying here after 25 years. So, if we can only ask our members and get those opinions from them, we will be able to generate ideas on how we can market our clubs better. Financing, I wonder if that's a possibility for Toastmasters, but then again, maybe not. But just think outside of the box. Maybe you can do something creative about it. Another term, value proposition, is just the primary benefit that our club, our organization offers, and that's communication and leadership. It should be clear, concise, and identify the key elements and benefits, which is, again, communication and leadership. That's straight from Toastmasters International. Brand positioning is the deliberate choosing of an image you want to create in the mind of your customers. So this is like your branding. So, this is something deliberate, something proactive, and not just something that you would want, you just come out of the blue. So you really have to plan this. If you want something of a good quality image in the minds of your customers about your organization, you would want this proactive. You don't want this to be just so-so. And it's something that you actually have to know even before you plan your strategies, even before you come up with the strategies, so that you would be able to know which of these strategies are gonna be effective, and which of these strategies are not gonna be effective for your brand. Will it pull our brand down? Will it make our brand better? Do you want to put Toastmasters name in something that is not good? Perhaps, I don't know, something that's not related to communication and leadership, and you would probably just taint the brand of the organization. Whereas if you would want to, you can put the name of Toastmasters in business organizations like the Chamber of Commerce, stuff like that, so that you would know that that's something related to Toastmasters, and that would strengthen the brand. For the positioning statement, it's just the statement similar to the tagline, where leaders are made. And I thought at first when I've seen that, that's our official tagline, Toastmasters International, are we just limiting ourselves to leadership? But then again, communication is what Toastmasters is more known about, something that's contradictory to the tagline. But then again, I guess leadership, communication is part of leadership. So it's very broad when you say where leaders are made, and communication would cover that. But I just thought maybe we could put some communication, something about communication in that tagline. So in choosing our market position, well, I guess these are like other taglines that other organizations like always fresh into importance, or a lot of organizations mention Canadian so that we can be more patriotic in our choices. Save money, live better, everyday low prices for Walmart. And then again, for Toastmasters, it is where leaders are made. So that's just an example of the positioning statements that we're positioning Toastmasters in. So we want the members, the public to know that Toastmasters is where leaders are made. So that's our positioning statement. That's what we deliberately want our public to know what Toastmasters is all about. This came directly from the brand manual in Toastmasters, from Toastmasters International. It's just a story of how we should be positioning ourselves, and it's pretty long. So the basic summary of it is that I am a leader and I was made, and Toastmasters is where leaders are made. So it's just another highlight of where we are at in terms of Toastmasters International telling us how to position our brand. Of course, we've talked about realistic market research. How are we going to do it? Of course, other than survey, and Michael Bear has used SurveyMonkey for the, which is a free thing that we can do for our convention. We can also do focus groups. We can ask our members about the things that we thought we ought to know. Why did you join us? Or perhaps people who used to be members in Toastmasters. Why did you leave? And those. The answers to those questions would give us a lot of enlightening ideas on how to improve our clubs. And we can interview people, or when you're going to in a corporate environment and you're trying to find to have the executive sponsor a club so that you can open a club. Make sure you ask them questions. When you go to demonstration meetings, make sure you talk to the people out there. Why did you go to this demonstration meeting? And not just demonstrate and show them what Toastmasters is all about. We have to know their side too. And it's not just them knowing about us, it's also us knowing about them so that we can cater for their needs as well, and we can tailor our services towards their needs. And of course, you don't have to go all fancy with this market research. You can just go and observe, especially in a limited environment, limited finances, limited human resources. We have to actually be more mindful of our resources so that it doesn't have to be a big research thing that we're doing. Number 2 would be brainstorming specific strategies. And I just want to review the objectives of why are we advertising in the first place. And these are things that we tend to forget. And we just go on, oh, okay, let's just do this. Let's just make open houses. Let's just do this. But we forget what we're actually doing this for. So let's review that. We have 3 objectives in advertising. We want to inform people. Perhaps we have a new club that's opening. We have new services. We have a new program that's called Pathways. We have whatever that we want to tell them, just to inform them. We can also persuade people through advertising. And by persuading, we are building brand preference over why would you want to do Toastmasters compared to another thing another corporation that would improve your communication leadership skills. It doesn't have to be that we look down on other organizations, but we have to highlight what makes us unique from those organizations. Perhaps we're way cheaper compared to other organizations. In Toastmasters, you can go on your own pace if that's what you want. You can think of other things that you can highlight to persuade. But the thing is, you have to, just with your speeches, you always have to conclude with a strong call to action, and so that you can close that sale and get that member. The third objective of advertising would be to remind people about Toastmasters. Hey, we exist. And not only that, hey, we exist, we have to keep on top of their minds and tell them that communication isn't optional, and there's a poster for that as well. Communication isn't optional. Leadership is very important if we want this organization to grow. And we have to remind them of that from time to time. If it has to be 8 times before they join Toastmasters, just constant reminders is very crucial. We have to remind them that where they can join and how, and perhaps we can refer them to the website, or we can give them recommendations ourselves. We know that there's about 100 Toastmasters clubs in our district, and most of them are in Manitoba, so that's something that we have to remind them of. And we're not just one club, and that's something that would make us look good on them. This is a very important thing too. Would you undergo a procedure that has a 5% chance to kill you if it will improve your life?
How much improvement?
That's kind of big. What about a procedure that has a 95 success rate? Would that be better, you think?
Yes.
But then again, if you're going to consider this, it's basically equal statements.
Yeah.
So a procedure that has 95% success rate has a 5% chance of unsuccessful rate. And then again, a 5% chance to kill you. There's 95% chance that it will succeed. So seeing that for some reason, we tend to gravitate towards this statement more. And this only shows us how framing is so important for our advertisements when we're actually marketing our Toastmasters clubs. There's been studies all around the world where framing, just changing the way people frame something like organ donation, just changing it from opting in for an organ donation to an opting out of an organ donation. They have shown like significant increases in organ donation rates just because of framing. So that's something that I just wanted to highlight with this slide. Framing is very important, and marketing is just a creative use of truth. So those are both true statements, but the way you frame things can make big difference on whether you get that member or not. And then again, wording is very important too. These are just the same things, but for some reason, we would tend to find that something that will kill you is more scary than something that has a 5% mortality rate. And those jargons just make it blurry. So just try to avoid those ones and make your statements stronger when using your simple statements that are simple. Then we can talk about brainstorming these specific strategies when you go to your clubs. Brainstorm with your specific members because you are the ones who would know more about the specific needs of your clubs or wherever your club is. But we will be talking about some general stuff that we can do. That everyone can do, whether you're a university club, whether you're a corporate club, and any kind of club in this session. So talking about PR strategies, first video, those My Why initiatives, those are really good ways to promote Toastmasters. Seth Godin said, marketing is no longer about the stuff you make, but about the stories you tell. And we all know, as people creating speeches, that stories are very important in our speeches if we want them to be compelling to our audiences. Publicity is absolutely crucial. A good PR story is infinitely more effective than a front page ad. So make stories out of it, and those My Whys are great storytelling tools. So that we are recording Lloyd this, and perhaps maybe Lloyd for future video creations that like ideas that you might want to do is maybe get a story from someone who is so compelling that where Toastmasters was life changing for them, something like that, something that will make them cry and perhaps make people join Toastmasters because of it. Stories are so much more stronger. Yes, that?
I heard something one time, and I think it's true, is that they say facts tell, but stories sell.
Yes, that's for sure. And I don't think I have to tell you more, any further about this. And everyone as Toastmasters, you would have learned along your journey that stories are very important tools that we can use in order for us to persuade members to join us. Other PR strategies I've made in my list, just contacting your local publications, perhaps like if you're again in the university, those local those university papers, or in your community, like Selkirk, people in Selkirk have been contacting those people who are writing articles about the Selkirk local publication. You might want to do the traditional thing, posting up posters, flyers, brochures, bookmarks. Tekla wants us to do some bookmarks, and I thought that was a great idea because that's something that would stick to people more than just posters that they'll just see once or maybe twice. Whereas the bookmark, that's something that they can use and see Toastmasters the whole time whenever they read a book or something. Meetups, I'd like to differentiate between the district meetup that we have and the club meetups. And this tool has been very, very, very effective, and I've heard a lot of great stories about it, like great success stories about many clubs that are very, very low membership and almost doomed to extinction, except they did meetups, and then they just grew like more than 20 members. Lots of stories about that. But then again, there's this district meetup that we're using now just to let the word of Toastmasters out, and it is very different from the club meetups that we're using. And I can see the young professionals just they've been using meetups for a long time now in their clubs, and how would you say is it working in your club?
Yeah, it was fantastic in our first year. So we had 9 members, 7 of them active, and there's attrition because people are lost. We gained 19 people last year, and I would say about 2/3 of that came from Meetup. I'd say about 2/3 came from Meetup. That being said, Meetup is not enough on its own. You need to do other things to draw people, and all these other things you're talking about are right on. I'm in 100% agreement with you so far today. You have to really think about how you promote Meetup. And as you say, the Meetup for the entire for the district is very different because it's letting things out, letting information out. Whereas when it's for your particular club, you start talking about the things that are important to your club, right? So it's very, I completely agree.
Again, the specific and the general rule that we have. The district meetup is so general for it to be as strong as a specific club meetup account. So that's just and then again we have those objectives. Why are we having this district meetup in the first place? To let the world, the Toastmasters known to everyone in meetups. Why do we still need a club meetup account?
Well, and not necessarily everyone needs a club.
It doesn't have.
Think of your audience. So if you are catering to a particular church and you have your congregation and those are the people who are really important to you, Meetup may not be your answer. If you are a university and you're trying to get students and they're all there and everyone's on Meetup and trying to get to know each other, then Meetup might be for you, right? We gained a lot from Meetup because we're young professionals. Or if you're looking for people who are looking for a particular skill set, might be a reason to cater your meetup towards that. Anyway, I'm talking too long.
Yeah, no, that's actually good thing that we can apply those principles just in this talking about meetups. You have to know. That's why it's very important for us to know who are we catering to, and we're not catering to everyone. That's for sure. Yes. Okay, and that's for sure. We're not catering to everyone. So make sure you know who your audience is, and perhaps by knowing that, maybe before you even spend money on meetups, it could save you money if in the end you would have realized that meetup is not for your club, and if only you've done your research, you could have saved your money. And a lot of other strategies that we can do. I suggest that when we go back to our clubs and talk about marketing with our members, try not to spoon feed these ideas, but perhaps ask them to generate those ideas on their own, so that they can have ownership, and at the same time, it'll be more specific to what your club actually needs as compared to whatever is spoon-fed to you by the district. Step number 4, you time bind your strategies, and then again, we've talked about that. Put them in your calendar. Perhaps you would want to do something about the new year. Make it relevant to the seasons. Make it relevant to hey, it's Toastmasters week. This Toastmasters month. Last was it September, October? I don't remember anymore. But October. Make it relevant, and then again, also spread it evenly so that one time you don't do some things, one time your executives are so busy that you don't burn out your members as well. And then again, it's important for us to make repeated appearances, just to remind people that they need this service. But then again, we have to make it different from time to time. We don't have to give them the same message every time. And the last step, you have to measure and adjust accordingly. Things change. You may lose members, you may gain more members, and you might find that some strategies are working and some strategies are not working. So those things that we have to keep in mind so that we can evaluate and improve ourselves on. What are we doing? Meet regularly with your executive team members. What are we doing well? What are we not doing well and can improve on? And stuff like that. And perhaps you will have new ideas as well when you meet, so that are better than what's laid out in your plan. So that's very important. And it's been said that half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is I don't know which half. So it's very important for us to evaluate. If we don't evaluate, if we don't do our research, we will be spending a lot of not only money but human resources, and that's the only thing that we actually have here as a volunteer organization. Volunteer human resources, and that's something very rare. Then again, in the last paragraph over here, the monitoring effectiveness, I've seen in the book that it requires like codes, reference numbers, and there's this formula. Effectiveness is the total cost of production over the number of acquired customers. And it's just something that I don't know if we can apply in Toastmasters, but I'll leave it up to you if you can actually think about things to monitor stuff. In summary, we've talked about doing the 5 smart steps so that we can plan and go home in our clubs, plan with our executives with a new perspective in mind, to do things differently, to see things differently, and perhaps get different results. So make sure that you're not forsaking the realistic market research. That's something that we've forsaken for a long time. Brainstorm specific strategies. This is something that we've been doing every year. And I thought it should come from your club members specifically so that we can have more specific and stronger ideas. Prioritize our strategies to make them attainable so that we can think of the return on investment concept, considering our limited human resources, financial resources. We have to make sure that we're doing the most effective strategies with less resources that we use. And then again, time bind your strategies, and make sure you always measure and adjust your strategies accordingly, periodically with your business executive meetings. Just some additional resources that you might want to take a look at when you're home and you have free time. And that finishes my presentation. Thank you.
So thank you, Michael. There was a lot of great information there.